Student friends, as we are aware that we have completed the first topic, namely the rectifier, filters and voltage regulator. We also studied the question bank likely to be available with topic number first. Now friends, we are going to start with the second topic from your syllabus, and that is known as transistor biasing. Friends, in the first topic we have studied how to design the power supply, and now we are going to study how we are going to apply that power supply for the different applications, especially for the purpose of the transistor to work it as an active device. In the previous year, that means in the BSc 1, we studied transistor as a semiconducting device, and we studied that transistor is a semiconductor device in which one type of the layer is sandwiched between remaining two types of the layers, where there is a transfer of resistor that takes place depends upon what type of the layer it is sandwiched. There are two types of the transistors. One PNP, in which N type of semiconducting layer is sandwiched between two P types of the layers, and another one is NPN transistor. It is a transistor in which P type of the semiconducting layer is sandwiched between two N type of semiconducting layers. We also studied that transistor possesses the three terminals, namely emitter, base and collector. Emitter is the terminal that emits the charge carriers. Collector is the terminal that collects the charge carriers, and base is the terminal which is sandwiched between emitter and collector, which is very thin. This is what you call it as the structure of the transistor. But merely by knowing the structure, it will not work for a particular purpose. So that's why, to make it to be in working condition, it should be provided with a power supply. Friends, power supply we have designed in topic number first. That power supply is to be applied to provide the necessary voltage to the transistor to make it, to bring it in working condition, to bring it in conduction aspect. And the process of connecting the power supply of proper magnitude and with proper polarity to bring the transistor in working condition is known as biasing of transistor. In short, we can say, to bring the transistor in working condition, we have to apply a proper magnitude of the power supply with proper polarity so that the transistor will start working as an active device. And that aspect we are going to study in the topic known as transistor biasing, and that is our topic number 2. So to study that particular topic, that is transistor biasing, we have to plan how to proceed with that particular topic, and that is what we can call it as it is plan of our lecture. We will begin our topic with the introduction of the transistor biasing, as good as we have started with the introduction. Just now whatever we have studied about the beginning of the transistor biasing, all the aspect we can call it as it is the introductory aspect. Then we are going to proceed to study the need of biasing. Why biasing is necessary. After that we are going to study what is the meaning of operating point, how the biasing will affect the operating point, what is the role of operating point to work transistor as an active device. Then we are going to study the DC load line, that is the meaning of load line, how load line is plotted, and how operating point is located on that particular DC load line. After that we are going to study stability of operating point. Means, what do you mean by stability of the operating point, and why stabilization for BJT it is necessary. Then we will proceed to study the stability factor. Friends, stability factor plays the very vital role to provide the stability for the operating point and also to stabilize the transistor for working as an active device. Then we are going to study methods of biasing the transistor. What are the different methods used to bias the transistor and which is best suitable one? In that we are going to study fixed biasing method, collector to base biasing method, emitter or self biasing method, and last and important one, that is known as voltage divider biasing method. In your syllabus, out of 4, only 3 biasing methods are included. Collector to base biasing method is not expected to be studied from your syllabus point of view, but it is one of the method of biasing the BJT. So this is the plan of our lectures so as to complete the topic number 2, namely transistor biasing. Let us start with introduction about the biasing of BJT. As we have already introduced that to work with the transistor in a proper mode of operation, as we are also aware that just physical structure of transistor unable to give any kind of operation. So that's why it is necessary to provide proper magnitude and proper polarity of the power supply voltage so that the transistor is going to be biased properly. Friends, in BSc 1 we studied little bit about what are the modes of biasing of BJT, and where we have studied that BJT is going to be operated in forward bias mode, it is going to be operated in saturation mode. It may be operated in reverse mode of operation. All these operations are possible, only depends upon how we are going to connect the power supply to the bipolar junction transistor. Generally, when transistor is to be used as an amplifier, you have to connect one supply between base and emitter, that is to the input junction, so that it is going to act as a forward bias, and you have to connect another supply between collector and base, that is to the output junction, so that it is going to act as a reverse biased. With this particular type of connecting the power supplies, your BJT will work as an amplifier. We have already studied last year all these concepts. But friends, if suppose if you connect both the batteries respectively to the input and output junctions, so that they are going to be reverse bias, both the junctions, then BJT is going to be operated in the cutoff region. It will not conduct the current at all. Here transistor will be off. We studied that also. We also know that when both the junctions are forward biased, then maximum current flows through the BJT and transistor goes to saturation. Here transistor is in fully on condition. If you look to this particular diagram of operation of BJT by connecting the power supplies to bias in different ways, we can say that transistor may operate either in the cutoff region, it may operate in the saturation region, or it may be operated in the active region. But in this particular topic, instead of using two power supplies, only one supply we are going to connect, so that it is going to resolve the entire aspect of biasing the BJT. So this is how we are interested to deal with this particular topic. Let us describe the same. Biasing of BJT is nothing but, look at here, this is the definition of biasing the BJT. So that's why we are going line by line. Biasing of BJT is nothing but providing the proper power supply to set the required current and voltage and make it to work in proper region, and that is either in the active region or in the cutoff region or in the saturation region for a particular application as an amplifier or as a switch. Friends, in the last year we have plotted the output characteristic curves of common base, common emitter, and also for common collector configurations. From those particular characteristic curve, we have concluded that entire operation of BJT will be divided into the three regions. One is transistor may going to operate in the cutoff region, it may going to operate in the active region, or it may going to operate in the saturation region. This mode of operation is going to depend upon the biasing of BJT. If you connect the battery so that both the junctions are reverse biased, it will be operating in the cutoff region. If you connect the battery so that both the junctions are forward biased, it will be operating in the saturation region. If you connect the battery so that input junction is forward biased, and output junction is the reverse bias, it will operate in the active region. To achieve this, we have to connect the power supply with proper magnitude that will allow a required amount of current to pass through it and to develop necessary voltage, and at the cost of that the BJT may going to operate either in the active region as an amplifier or in the cutoff and saturation region to work it as a switch. Friends, transistor has got only two applications, and that is either it is going to act as an amplifier or it is going to act as a switch. If the BJT operates either in saturation or in cutoff, it is going to act as a switch. And if it is going to be operated in the active region, it is going to act as an amplifier. Thus, simply we can say, by providing the power supply properly with proper magnitude, which will set a required amount of current and voltage to work the BJT either in the active region or in the cutoff or saturation region, to be used as either amplifier or as a switch. Biasing deals with setting the fixed level of current that flow through the BJT to develop desired fixed voltage across it. Means if you bias the BJT, means if you connect the power supply with the proper magnitude and proper polarity, it will set fixed level of collector current, fixed level of base current, fixed emitter current, so as to develop a necessary voltage between base and emitter, collector and emitter, and also collector and base. To provide these particular fixed voltages by allowing a required amount of current to pass through it, we have to apply the necessary power supply of proper magnitude and proper polarity, and this method of connecting the proper power supply with the proper magnitude and proper polarity is known as biasing of BJT. Friends, now we have to proceed to study why biasing is needed. If biasing is not done, then what happens? The answer for this particular question is that if biasing is not done, transistor will remain as simply a physical device. It will not give you any kind of an operation for us. And to make it workable, the biasing is needed, or it is to be biased. Means to adjust the operating point in a proper region, in the active region or maybe in the saturation region or cutoff region, to adjust that bias operating point to work BJT as an amplifier or to work BJT as a switch, the biasing is needed. Or to stabilize the operation of BJT, to get the necessary type of waveforms across the BJT, the biasing is needed. And by getting the necessary type of waveforms, it can be applied for the different application to construct the different electronic devices. And for this reason, the biasing is needed. Let us describe the same. Biasing is needed to make BJT to operate in the proper region by setting IB, that is the base current, IE, that is emitter current, IC, that is collector current, at the cost of VBE and VCE due to application of the proper power supply of VCC. Means here we are applying the only one power supply, that is between collector and ground, so that it will develop proper magnitude of base current, emitter current and collector current at the cost of base to emitter voltage and collector to emitter voltage, allowing BJT to work in a proper region. So we have to apply the proper power supply VCC to develop, to allow base current IB, emitter current IE and collector current IC to flow through the respective terminals at the cost of developing emitter to base voltage VBE and collector to emitter voltage VCE. And this process of connecting VCC is known as biasing. Proper biasing of BJT sets its operating point in a required region around which the entire operation of BJT depends. Means if proper magnitude and proper polarity of supply VCC is connected, that is proper biasing of BJT sets its operating point in a required region around which the entire operation of BJT depends. Means biasing is needed to set the position of operating point around which the working of BJT that depends. Operating point may be located in the active region or may be located in the saturation and cutoff region. To adjust it, the biasing is needed. When BJT acts as an amplifier, its operating point will be set in the active region. Means to work BJT as an amplifier, its operating point should be in the active region, in which input junction is forward bias and output junction is reverse bias. Already we know it, we have studied in last year also. If suppose BJT is going to act as an amplifier, naturally the operating point is located in the active region at the cost of input junction is forward bias and output junction is reverse bias. If suppose shift of operating point takes place, which will change the working of BJT. Means once the BJT operating point is adjusted in the active region, due to any reason, if suppose the position of operating point is shifted, then it will change the working of BJT. So that's why biasing is necessary. But with proper biasing technique, operating point is stabilized. Means if you apply proper biasing technique, biasing method, which will fix the position of operating point, means operating point is stabilized. Means once it is adjusted in a particular region, it will be maintained in the same region till the completion of operation of BJT. The stability of operating point depends on stability factor. Improper biasing produces distorted output waveforms. If biasing is not perfect, output waveforms which are available, those are distorted. Therefore, it should be properly biased. Operating point will also affected by the change in temperature, which is required to be compensated by proper biasing technique only. Means if suppose temperature is changed, then the position of operating point is going likely to be shifted, and that's why transistor will becomes unstable. To keep it stable, it should be properly biased by using suitable technique. Without proper biasing, BJT cannot be used for any application. Due to all these reasons, hence BJT is necessary to bias. Hence, it is necessary to bias the BJT. All this describes why biasing is needed or why transistor is properly biased. In short, you remember that biasing is needed to locate the operation of BJT in a proper region by locating the operating point in a proper region, to stabilize the operating point, which is going to depend upon stability factor, to avoid the shift of operating point at the cost of change in temperature. All these are achieved by allowing proper base current, emitter current and collector current at the cost of developing VBE and VCE, and that's why the proper magnitude and polarity of VCC should be applied, and this is what we can call it as the biasing and why it is needed. So this is how we can say there is a need of biasing. So friends, that's all about today's period, where just we have introduced our topic, that is a transistor biasing, with the plan of lectures, how we are going to proceed. We have defined the biasing, or we have studied the meaning of biasing and why biasing is needed. Next time we will study about the operating point and also the DC load line. For today's period, we will stop here only. Rest we will see in the next period.